shake it up. Shaking up the garbage we feed on. Shaking up our wondrous being. Let's begin to reform. Even if just for a moment, to share the cloying and the suffocating skin. Let's shake it up right now. Let's shake it up right now. Let's shake it up right now. Shake it up. Languishing in thoughts, lucidity doesn't benefit the greater cause. Driving blind and clawing wildly, wreaking havoc, banging heads against. I am now with Katie Palmer of TAHM. Katie, lovely to be with you. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you very much for having me today.
That's all right. It's one of those where I think it's the positive nature of social media. I'm doing a bit more, particularly in TikTok, and I came across TAHM, yourselves as a band.
Yeah.
I reached out to Ian and emailed ultimately, but messages I think went backwards and forwards. And the initial, which I'm not pointing a finger, the initial response was not suspicious, but slightly, who is this and what is
Who are
this?
you and what do you want?
Absolutely, because I think we kind of live in a bit of a world at the times where you do get that type of thing. So completely understood that, but I'm going to say it how I feel it, how I mean it. And this is the bit that Ian slightly resisted, which is I absolutely love your music.
Oh, thank you so much. It's so nice to hear that. It's it is early days for us, and we haven't had that much feedback. So actually, that's really lovely to hear. Absolutely, thank you.
Fantastic sound. It pops through. It pops through, and what I mean by that is it's beautifully immediate, because sometimes immediacy can be really, really annoying.
Yes.
It's so catchy that it's like, I mean, I've written songs and some of them I listen to and I think, flipping heck, the hook and the catch of that song is perhaps maybe a bit too much.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you're with me.
Bit of an earworm.
Ghosted was the first song I became aware of yourselves with.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. So I want to we're going to go into a little bit of a journey of where you've come from in the past. This is being pre-recorded. I often share that for those that are listening. But let's imagine we're going forwards in a time machine, actually, funny enough, at time of recording, to this coming Friday. What's current in terms of single? And then I want you to also talk a little bit about the Scooby-Doo social media thing. So let's begin with the latest single. That was a long way of saying that.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, Little Devil, and that's coming out on Friday. I think it's just been it's been so different this time around compared to the past with the way that you promote music, and it's been such a learning curve for us. I mean, we had Instagram personal accounts, but doing this as regularly, getting your stuff on all the different social media platforms. Yeah, massive learning curve, quite stressful to be honest at times. Yeah. But what's been so much fun has been thinking of the creatives behind, such as the Scooby-Doo thing. And that really came about by, we're thinking, well, Little Devil is there is a bit of a darker sort of feel to the lyrics, definitely. And at first I'd thought about that kind of like imagery, but it was getting a bit gothic, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but we kind of wanted to keep it a bit more playful. And it was Ian who's really good at all that sort of graphic and design stuff. And he thought, if we could have this kind of like Scooby-Doo type of quest for the missing guitar pedal as a theme, it's sort of, it is kind of like, it's a little bit dark, but it's playful dark. And yeah, I was really pleased the way it came out.
It's creative, isn't it? So I've seen Instagram, TikTok, particularly yourselves, and the comic book type imagery, and then there's
Yeah.
like there's the the beginning scene, the next scene, and it's within itself it's really really interesting as well as the music, and that's part of it, as you said, isn't it now?
Yeah, yeah, it's such a big part of it. I mean, there are many, many times that we had planned on spending weekend writing, recording, and we've just got no time. We're spending so long
Mm,
on the socials. But I just think we just came to the point where we thought, well, see that as part of the process.
totally.
It's maybe not the scheduling so much as a little bit admin, but the making all this stuff, making the little videos that we're doing is just, if you see that as part of it as opposed to a job that you have to do just to promote the music, then I don't know, it feels like a nice use of your time. um yeah.
There's another means of creativity, isn't it?
Well, it is.
Um,
Yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah,
and I think your message is really, really important for so many individuals. And I often share this. Of course, we're talking particularly about creativity through writing, music, but all aspects of life. For me, writing is the thing. That's the thing I absolutely love. I love
yeah,
writing. I love recording. But of
yeah,
course, unless I'm doing that purely because I enjoy that, well, then I've got to do something with it. And that's where it starts to
exactly.
feel like, hold on a minute. So whether it's somebody in business or whatever they're doing, it doesn't necessarily have to be music. So our listeners could be thinking, I enjoy that side. I enjoy the gardening side of the service I provide for my clients, but I don't necessarily enjoy the advertising.
Yeah, 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 yes. And it just, yeah, I think you've got to find a way of making it work. And it's been a massive learning curve because we've only been doing this a few months. And of course, we've got all that back history and experience, but none of that involved any of this. It was just literally writing, recording, and then somebody else, your management or people from a label telling you what to do. Just setting up an interview here, a photo shoot there. You just turn up and do it, and that is all. Yeah, it's all part of what we have to do now,
Yeah.
and it's certainly keeping us busy. But I think in a great way. It's brilliant to be back in
Oh,
this
that's
work.
great. And the comeback that you never knew you wanted some or needed. You never knew you needed. That was it. The comeback you never knew you needed. So we'll
Yeah.
go back into that in a moment, but
Okay.
it's yourself, it's Ian and Paul. Is that
Yes.
correct? Of TAHM?
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, it's TAHM. We say TAHM, but standing for
TAHM.
TA.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm doing the acronym of it. TAHM. Brilliant.
TAHM.
Thank you
Yes.
for correcting me
That's
because
quite
that's
all
really,
right.
really important because there are no dots between.
No. No.
No,
No.
no, no. Great. So TAHM. Um,
TAHM.
does that break down into individual letters? Does that represent standing for anything?
Yes, and I hesitate to tell the story, but it's quite funny. So, okay, I will. So, you might have seen on our Spotify there's another EP called Tonight We're Strangers, and that was done last year. And
Right.
that was done with a guy, Tom Taylor, who is the singer from a band Kiwi. You might have come across.
Yep, yep, yep.
And so Tom was the person who started this all off for us. It was a chance meeting between him and Ian, and they both well, he's in a band, we were in a band, got talking. Cut a long story short, decided to write a track together, and it kind of like expanded. It was just going to be one song. It kind of progressed, and we just enjoyed doing it so much. But at the time, Tom must have been about 22. I'm a year or two older, should we say? And when the prospect of possibly playing live came on stage, my initial reaction was like, I can't do that. Everybody's going to say, "What's that young lad doing on stage with his mum?"
Oh,
And
goodness me. No, 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 Katie. Go on, carry on. Oh, dear.
so
Uh,
TAHM, TAHM, actually stands for Tom and his mum. Yes.
wow. Now, I have to ask the question, are you okay for that to be shared? Have you ever, I'm sure, assuming you've shared that before?
Um, no, but I just think when you get a little bit older, you could either shy away from it or just embrace it and have
That's
fun
so
with it.
true.
And I just think, yeah, we are the age we are. and that's fine. We got tons of experience, not kind of ashamed of it. It's quite a funny story. So yeah, go for it. Share it. It's fine.
Honestly, I really, really love that for so many reasons because I think, no, I do, I really do. I'm not trying to make it worthy. I just think it is, I've reached that stage in different ways. So rather than me trying to pretend to be something I'm not, we all at times, if we're performing or we're doing things like we're doing now, we project, of course,
Of
but I've
course.
kind of surrendered into thinking if something is, then it is. And
Yeah.
I just think your description there is a very, very open door to everybody listening. Because another thing I love that you said, words to the effect in your bio, and I'm not a great fan, as you know, because we shared this before we started going into recording, is but basically about creativity being timeless. So I
Yes.
think the stages you've been creative with the people that you've been creative for, which has been a few years, which we'll come to in a moment, I think it's that maturity. Is that actually isn't even necessarily anything to do with age. I think it's the transparency and the reality of being through the experiences you've been through.
Yeah.
To now think, well, TAHM could be a closely, TAHM could be a closely guarded secret,
Yeah.
but actually it comes from somewhere,
Well, I just
if you get me.
because every artist has their story, their background, maybe their little unique thing, and
Mm,
maybe for us that's it. That we've got this, this is Mark II, that we've had this past, and more the fact that we, genuinely had thought those days were over. I mean, we never stopped playing music and
yeah.
that side never stopped, but we did stop putting it out there, and I kind of made peace with that, and that was okay. And actually it's just been the most fantastic experience to be back doing this. Never could have imagined we would be doing this. I mean, the things I spend my weekends doing are absolutely crazy, but they're fun, they're exciting. um you know I think just kind of embrace that, and you know, don't shy away from it and pretend I'm 19.
That I think you've just summed up me, even though I would like to.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yes,
I, d- I,
definitely.
I don't think I'm actually going to be able to kind of achieve that as soon as somebody looks at me. But anyway, so TAHM Mark II, that's an interesting description. And I think in some ways, the way I'm feeling about how we're discussing things is not a rebirth. I'm kind of applying this to life. I think when we go through stages of life, the decades respectively, there's kind of like a reawakening of a gratitude. So you've always
Mm.
created.
Yep.
How long for? Kind of what have you learned over that time? And how's that feeling for you now? So how long have you been conscious of being creative?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I played musical instruments since I was 2 years, 2 years old. Um, so yeah, I've always played music, written music from, I don't know, very precocious. I was a very precocious teenager, even preteen, to be honest. Um, Terrible bands that we shan't discuss because they're horribly embarrassing, but still, kind of having a go. Um, but it's interesting actually looking back at where we were and the difference now.
Mm,
I think, and I don't think we were ever arrogant with it. I hope we weren't. I don't
okay.
think we were ever arrogant people. But I do think it maybe came a bit too easily. So we
Okay.
Stream was the band that got signed back in the 90s,
Okay.
and we'd only been together as that particular lineup for a handful of months before we got signed. It was a bit too early, to be honest, and and then things sort of fell into our lap a little bit to begin with, and I think, without being arrogant, I think we maybe made the mistake of thinking that everything we wrote was gold.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
and we look back at some of the stuff from then. Some of it's, we really like, some of it less so, if I'm
mhm.
honest. And I think this time around, we've just got that quality control is so much higher. Um, I mean, it's gutting. You know, we'll ditch something we've been working on for days because it's just not right. It's just not quite there. But we say to it, you know, as much as in the moment that's so frustrating, and you're just like, you know, all that wasted time. And we never used to do that. I think we just used to say, oh well, you know, this is the guitar part that's been written, so that's staying. You know, we never would have thought of like, actually, now the song's progressed, that guitar part doesn't work as well. Let's get rid of that and start again. Whereas now it's, yeah, the whole process is different.
Is that, if you don't mind me asking, is that because you feel more in control now? I'm not being cliched in asking that because, of course, when you're signed and you're out there, I've not experienced that myself, but I should imagine, just from stuff I know and awareness of the industry, was there a little bit more you were directed kind of back in those times, and now you're more in control?
Yeah, maybe. I think there's certain pressure as well, there's certain
Mm,
time pressures.
mm,
Recording an album for a label, and people are booked, and studio time's booked, and there's only a finite amount of money. So there is a little bit of a sense, especially, you know, kind of, I guess if you get to a certain level, I guess Taylor Swift can probably take as long as she likes over an album, but we couldn't, you know, it was like, right,
yeah,
we've got these
yeah, yeah.
couple of months booked and we really need to get it done, and oh, that's fine, that'll do. And not so much a thought that we were aware that it wasn't as good as it could be, but
Mm,
just an assumption that that was good enough. Whereas
got you.
now, I think we're like, no, we've got a second chance to maybe correct some of those mistakes we made when we were younger and a little bit more naive. I think, if that makes
And
sense.
and where does that come from in regard to? So that's from yourselves when you're creating, the desire to take more time, a little bit more care, to feel that, and also, of course, you've got comparison, haven't you? You got comparison
Yeah,
of what you did previously with
yeah,
now. What about from those that listen? Because listening to Tom, genuinely, I had no perception of who you are, and I think that's one of the beautiful things of music creativity generally.
yeah,
You know, and I'm not, you're probably getting this, I'm not one of those people that then dives into people's, media streams and does phenomenal amounts of research. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Because when I'm talking to somebody like now with yourself, Katie, I
yeah,
like it to be conversational.
yeah,
Because otherwise, I know too much about that person before I've even talked to them, if you get me. So I had no preconceived idea. I think that's the point I'm making.
yeah.
With the care you're taking, are there elements of that that you feel with those that are listening to you? With, again, without that sounding worthy, is part of you taking more time? How is that reflected in how you feel you want to be heard? If you get me, because you would have been heard before.
Yeah,
Definitely, I
yeah,
know that. I know that. But now, it's like you say, with the time you spend in social media, with the time you spend creating music, what's the desire of you spending time for the people listening?
um, I mean, certainly we I think we're a lot more open to a bigger range of influences. I don't know whether that means, you know, in terms of listeners, whether we'd have a greater appeal. I'm not sure. I think maybe we were a bit pigeonholed, you know, because like back in the day, we were signed to Roadrunner, which is predominantly like it's a heavy metal label. We were not a heavy metal band.
Yeah,
They were in their branching out phase, which didn't last that long. I think they've steered very much back to a heavy metal label, but I think there was a certain, you know, pressure to keep within certain genres as well. Um, whereas whereas now I think, just, you know, if songs can have greater, you know, a greater scope of influences. I mean, certainly in terms of the fact they're quite poppy. You know, back in the day, we never would have classed ourselves as a pop band. that would have been a terrible description. We would have been terribly offended if anybody had called us that. Whereas now we're just sort of embracing it and just thinking, well, yeah, we've still got that guitar-y element, which, and we're getting a bit of feedback from people saying that they like that. They're hearing a bit of a 90s guitar vibe, which is great if they can, if that's what appeals. But I guess we're not afraid of having shameless hooks, and that's what we want to do at the moment. And yeah, I hope other people enjoy it.
I think sometimes when I mean ghosted just in the title is a very, very, it's a well-used phrase, isn't it?
Oh yes,
Ghosted.
Zeitgeist.
It's everybody knows, what that means at the current time. It's a word that is very much a trend, if you
Yeah.
get me. But I think what was interesting, my mind works like this, is I saw a video. It was this morning. It was at time of recording. Yeah, that Little Devil, you and an acoustic guitar.
Oh yes, yes. That was what we spent last weekend doing. Well, I said part of it. Yeah, yes,
A
I have a bit
song's
of.
a song, isn't it? A song's a song. It's the produced version, the recorded version, band version. Sounds different, but a song's a song.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's actually the guy who mixes our music, George Filling. He's somebody that we worked with back in the day. He produced our Roadrunner album, and I think it was George who said, "You just know a good song if you can play it on an acoustic guitar and like sing along to it," and that's really stuck with us all that time. And it's been really interesting. I don't know if you've seen, I've done a couple of piano versions as well, very much stripped back, slow, gentle versions of songs that are a little bit more driven and guitar-y recorded. And that's been really interesting, sort of trying to work a little guitar solo into a into a piano version. It's just been interesting.
Do you feel as a writer when you revisit the songs in a different energy, so slightly slower version of that up-tempo song, does it actually help you to sometimes know the song more? And I don't mean technically, or know it in a different way.
Yeah, I think certainly singing it, I would sing it in a different way,
Mm.
and maybe that slowed down version brings out the emotion a little bit more. Little Devil's quite an angry song. It's it's got a lot of grr behind it. And when I was certainly recording vocals for that, it was with a bit of gusto, whereas the stripped back versions are more, I suppose, give the sadder element to the emotion. Which, because yeah, it's an angry song, but it is, it obviously has some, sad emotions in there as well. And that maybe came out, especially with the piano version, which I don't think we've released yet, but that'll be coming.
How do you tend to feel about explaining messages behind the music? So what I mean about that is, rather than tell us what it's about, I'm not going that far.
Okay.
The one songs that I'm aware of, so I'm kind of might be showing a little bit of limited knowledge, is 17 Years,
Okay.
Ghosted, and the brand new single June the 20th.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
Friday.
Little Devil. So those are the songs I'm predominantly aware of. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. Now, within that, how would you feel about giving some sort of energy description of those songs without it being that as a songwriter you're now saying, this is about, this is about, because of course for the listener, it's up to the listeners to interpret what they think as well. But I'm just interested in the titles are really good. 17 Years, Ghosted, Little Devil. They're very
Yeah.
they're good themes. How would you feel about describing those songs?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yes, there is a definite theme, and actually, we were originally going to release those three songs as an EP, a little EP, and it was going to be called the Vendetta Diaries,
Oh
which
wow.
I since found actually there was a band called Vendetta Diaries. We had no idea. I thought it was quite a quite a coincidence, but yeah, it was. I suppose a bit of a, the lyrics are a bit of a cathartic
Mm.
spew of some negative experiences, and it genuinely has been massively cathartic to write them. It really was. Yeah, it was great. But yes, I guess those three in particular they are about having a little bit of beef with someone and expressing those feelings. Um, and somewhere along the line, I did a song that got rejected. It was a bit of a nostalgic, wistful, looking back at the golden years of kind of when we were younger, and it was a nice enough song. And I can't remember if it was Ian or Paul said to me, "Guys, I do like this, but you do hate so well."
Oh wow.
And I thought,
Wow.
I don't know how to take that. Like,
Yeah,
I'm really
thanks. Yeah, thank you.
nice person, I promise.
Wow.
Um, but yes, I guess that's just where I was in my head at the time when those lyrics were written. Um, yeah, and it's been a good process, but not all the songs follow the same thing. We've got other songs written that do deviate from the hate-fueled revenge kind of.
Well, we're all going through phases. All emotions are on the table.
Yeah,
As a
yeah, yeah.
as a creator, we're drawing upon life experience and observation of others. It's one thing I'm learning in this, because funnily enough, because I write so much, that's what I do more than I do anything else, and because I didn't for many years, so I've kind of refound. I was offered a record contract when I was 17, 18.
Oh,
Um,
really?
I rejected it. And I'm not even going to go into that because you know, why and the journey I took. 10 songs a week I was asked to write,
Oh,
um,
really?
which, yeah, which to be honest with you, I'm not saying they'd all be gold dust, but I would find a walk in the park now, because I've just found this thing that I didn't realise that I've got as fully even then. So,
Really? You,
yeah,
you, you could actually get 10 songs done in a
oh,
week?
easily.
Really? Wow.
Easy. I'm not saying they'll all be good, but I would be able to do that because just the creative flow,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
that's the
Amazing.
feeling I get with yourselves because it's that reawakening. I don't want to say rebirth because you never went away. Is the feeling I
Oh,
get from talking with you now and reading bits. You've kept creating.
oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
I think it's just given it a public face. And that did give us, when we first wrote that song with Tom from Kiwi, it was literally just for an experiment, just to see what would happen, to see if it, we had no expectations, certainly no intentions of um, doing anything public with it. And it was just, that one song then led to another. But yeah, yeah, it's sorry, I've lost my train of thought. What,
That's all right.
what were we saying before?
I think you're in flow. You're creating a massive amount. You always have. I think you always will because it's part of yourself. I'm now going to get it right. You might have to put up with TAHM for a while because I've been saying that and recording that, and I can't go back on that. But now Tom,
No, I'm sorry, I should have said
no,
that
no, I'm
at the
glad you
very
did.
beginning.
I'm glad you did because otherwise I would have carried on doing the same. So Tom, and also for you to explain with great grace where that came from. I think I'm so grateful for that. So I think for us to conclude, um, where can people find you? Because of course there will be people here listening on Dreamcatcher Radio,
Yeah.
um, YouTube channel that I've got. I'll be sharing stuff in TikTok, etc. And I'm passionate about that because I think you're amazing. I really, really do, and I think the sound is absolutely fantastic.
Oh,
Um,
thank you so
I
much.
I love it. I think the people that are listening, people that are watching, how can they find you? And a message on the future and a bit of encouragement to conclude with if you can. Bless.
Okay. Well, we are TAHM _music on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. Just TAHM on Spotify. So yeah, so Spotify has the three. Well, as of Friday, it'll have the three singles and our current guys, and then the EP from last year as well. And yeah, so that's the place to find our music and our crazy forays into Scooby-Doo style musical promotion, if anybody is interested. There's
Yeah.
also stuff with me dressed up with a rabbit head.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Seemed a good idea at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a robot coming up, if anybody is, so inclined. So yeah, that's where you can find us.
Writing? Have you got obviously more singles, an album?
Yeah, we've got quite a few singles actually already recorded and mixed and mastered and ready to go. So yeah, I think we've, hopefully release something every couple of months. That would take us, we've got enough stuff to take us to about this time next year. And I very much hope that we carry on writing, so that it doesn't just stop there. I think at first this was maybe we said, oh, we'll do it for a year and see where it goes. But now we're a few months in, the thought of it ending after 12 months, I can't imagine that happening. I feel like we're only just getting going.
That's good news, isn't it? That's really, really good news.
I hope so.
What about a message of encouragement? Because you've had the experience in life creatively that you've had, and I think taking that and the public resurgence, because I think that's come through from clearly what you're sharing in terms of the projection of the Mark II, edition of TAHM. I think, how would you take that and use that as an encouragement for others?
Certainly, I'd say for anybody producing music, maybe slightly later in life, it surprised me how many doors are open that I assumed would be closed because we're not in our 20s anymore. And I think anyone at any age, it is possible. You don't need a record label anymore. In the past, I think you didn't have to have that, but you can get your stuff out to so many people, such a massively larger audience, and that you can do it all yourself. You can do it from home. You don't need to be booked into a really expensive studio. You don't need a record label behind you in order to actually reach people and start getting feedback and making connections with people and getting your music out there. So it really can be done completely DIY with just a bit of time, a lot of energy, and a whole lot of passion. But if you feel passionate about your music, it's there for the taking. Anyone can do it.
Katie, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed it with you. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, likewise.
Very beneficial. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's been lovely speaking to you. No, it's great, and thank you very much for having us on, and thank you for giving our music a bit of a promotion, which is great. Much appreciated.